There will always be voices around you that doubt your potential. Some will laugh, some will criticize, and others will quietly hope you fail. That's the nature of life. But here's the truth. You don't silence those voices by arguing with them. You silence them by living in such a way that their words lose power. You don't need to prove them wrong with noise. You prove them wrong with results. And you prove yourself right by becoming the kind of person who cannot be denied. The key is to stop making your life about revenge or about showing others what you can do. Instead, make it about showing yourself what you can do. Because once you begin proving yourself right, day by day, choice by choice, you'll discover that the critics don't matter anymore. Their voices fade because your own voice grows stronger. Every discipline you build, every goal you achieve, every temptation you resist becomes a brick in the foundation of your self-belief. It's not about putting others in their place. It's about putting yourself in the right place, where confidence meets competence, where dreams meet discipline, and where results meet reality. So don't waste your energy chasing applause or fighting critics. Use that energy to keep showing up, keep working, keep building. Because success isn't a shout. It's a quiet consistency that grows louder than any doubt. The best way to prove them wrong is to stop thinking about them and start thinking about the person you are becoming. Once you prove yourself right, the world can't help but notice. Critics don't deserve your energy, your growth does. That may sound simple, but it holds a truth that can change the way you live. Think about it. Every time you give attention to those who doubt you, mock you, or dismiss you, you hand over a portion of your energy. And energy is your most valuable currency. Once spent, it's gone. So why squander it on people who do not invest in your future, who do not build your foundation, and who add no strength to your character? The smarter investment is always in yourself, your skills, your vision, your discipline, your growth. The temptation, of course, is to respond to critics, to fire back with words, to prove in the moment that you are not what they say you are. But let me tell you something. The time you spend trying to convince someone else of your worth is time stolen from actually becoming worthy. The time you use defending your name could be used in building a name that defends itself. You don't have to fight the critics. You just have to grow to a place where your results make their noise irrelevant. Now, growth doesn't happen by accident. It takes planning, it takes patience, and it takes persistence. Critics show up without effort. You don't have to invite them. They arrive on their own. Growth, on the other hand, requires intention. It means reading when you'd rather be scrolling. It means practicing when you'd rather be resting. It means showing up on the days when excuses sound better than effort. And it means keeping your eye on the long game, not the temporary distraction of someone's opinion. Every person who ever achieved something remarkable faced critics. That's the rule, not the exception. Some were told they weren't talented enough. Others were told they weren't strong enough. And many were told they didn't belong at all. Yet the ones who rose above didn't waste time in arguments. They simply grew. They got better, stronger, sharper. Their results became undeniable. And when results show up, critics disappear, or at least their voices fade into the background noise of irrelevance. You see, critics thrive on attention. The more you react, the more they grow. But growth thrives on attention too. The more you invest in it, the more it rewards you. So the question is simple: where do you want your attention to go? Toward those who want to tear you down, or toward the process that will build you up? The choice determines whether you stay stuck in cycles of frustration or rise into cycles of progress. Sometimes the greatest proof you can give the world is your silence in the face of criticism. Silence not because you have nothing to say, but because your work is saying it for you. Silence not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to know where your energy belongs. Silence because the harvest always speaks louder than the seed. Think about a tree. Does it argue with the wind when storms come? No, it just keeps growing, stretching its roots deeper, reaching its branches higher. Over time, the tree becomes stronger than the storm. That's growth. That's what you must do. Don't argue with the storm of criticism. Just grow until your strength outlasts it. The truth is, most critics are not really about you. They reflect their own limitations, their own fears, their own disappointments. When they say you can't, they're usually speaking about themselves. And if you let that shape your destiny, you've handed your future over to their past. Why do that when you can shape your life by feeding your growth instead? Your growth requires energy, good energy. Energy in learning, in building, in creating. Energy in discipline, in consistency, in persistence. Every ounce of energy you waste in bitterness toward critics is an ounce stolen from your potential. But every ounce of energy you invest in your own growth multiplies. It compounds, it pays interest, it builds a return that lasts a lifetime. So let the critics talk. Let them doubt. Let them whisper and mock. While they waste their breath, you invest your life. And one day, when your harvest comes in, when the results are too clear to deny, you'll realize something important. It was never about proving them wrong. It was always about proving yourself right. And the secret was simple. Critics never deserved your energy. Your growth always did. Success is the quiet answer to loud doubt. When people doubt you, they often do it loudly. They question your abilities, they laugh at your dreams, they remind you of your failures, and they predict your downfall. Doubt always raises its voice because it needs noise to cover its own emptiness. But success doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to argue. It doesn't need to defend. Success is quiet because results speak louder than words ever could. The mistake many people make is trying to outshout the doubters. They argue, they defend, they explain. But no amount of talking can silence loud doubt. The only true silence comes when proof arrives. Results have a way of cutting through criticism. A harvest doesn't need an announcement. It shows up in the field undeniable, visible, and real. When you succeed, those who doubted you have nothing left to say. Their voices fade into silence, not because you silenced them, but because success did the job for you. But success doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come from wishing or complaining. It comes from steady effort, from daily disciplines that compound over time. Doubt is instant. It doesn't cost the critic anything to question you. But success takes a price. It takes commitment when it would be easier to quit. It takes consistency when it would be easier to slack. It takes faith in yourself when no one else is clapping. That's why so many give up before they arrive at success. They want the applause too early, instead of letting their results do the talking. Think about this every day you work on yourself, every day you practice your craft, every day you stay disciplined. You're adding to the quiet answer. It may not be visible yet, but it's building. Doubt is loud in the beginning because it feels like the only voice in the room. But stay long enough, work long enough, and soon the results arrive to speak for you. When they do, the critics can only watch. They don't disappear, but their words lose power in the face of undeniable evidence. There is a deep dignity in not reacting to doubt. When you resist the urge to argue, you keep your energy where it belongs, on building something worthwhile. And when your harvest shows up, that dignity grows even stronger. You didn't waste your voice on meaningless debates. You didn't get pulled into bitterness. You stayed focused on your journey, and the results became your reply. Consider the farmer. He doesn't argue with the neighbors who say his soil is too rocky or his seed too weak. He just plants. He waters. He waits. Then, when the harvest rises, the quiet answer is clear. He doesn't have to go around saying, "See, I told you so." The field says it for him. That's the power of success. It is its own testimony. The challenge, of course, is patience. Loud doubt can get under your skin. It can tempt you to give up early or fight back in anger. But the wise response is patience. Keep planning, keep working, keep believing. Don't try to shout over the noise. Stay faithful to the process because the process always pays. When the results come, you won't need to say a word. And here's the secret: the quieter your success, the stronger it feels. Loud success, the kind that brags, the kind that constantly needs recognition, never lasts long. Quiet success, built on effort and character, lasts a lifetime. It's grounded, it's real, and it doesn't depend on the applause of others. It's yours. So when doubt rises loud around you, don't be disturbed. Let it make its noise. Let others use their energy to mock and criticize. Save your energy for building, because success doesn't have to prove anything. It simply arrives. And when it does, it answers every question, silences every critic, and confirms every ounce of belief you held on the journey. Remember, doubt may start loud, but success always ends louder, even in its quietness. The quiet of success carries more weight than the shouting of doubt. So keep moving, keep building, and let your life become the quiet answer. Proving yourself right builds confidence that no critic can shake. That is one of the most powerful truths you can live by. When you set out on a journey, people will doubt you. Some of them will even hope you fail, just so they feel right about their own fears and limitations. If your confidence depends on their approval, you'll always be fragile. You'll rise and fall based on opinions you can't control. But when your confidence comes from proving yourself right, when you know deep down that you kept your word to yourself, that you stayed disciplined, that you achieved what you set out to do, no critic can touch that. Their words bounce off because you've built something stronger inside. The greatest strength isn't found in proving others wrong, it's in proving yourself right. Why? Because others will change their opinions with the wind. They may doubt you today and praise you tomorrow. If your confidence rests on that, you'll always be at their mercy. But proving yourself right is different. It's internal. It's a contract between you and you. It's about living up to your own standards, not theirs. And once you do that, you stand on ground that no critic can shake. Confidence built this way isn't loud or arrogant. It's calm, steady, and sure. It doesn't need applause, and it doesn't fear attack. It's the kind of confidence that lets you walk into any room knowing you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You already proved it where it mattered most, in your own life, in your own habits, in your own results. Think of it like this. Every time you set a goal and follow through, you cast a vote for your own belief in yourself. Every discipline you keep, every promise you honor, every step you take toward your vision is proof. It's not proof for the critics, it's proof for you. And when you stack up enough of that proof, it becomes unshakable confidence. Critics often shout because they want to shake you. They want to plant doubt in your mind so you'll question yourself. But when you've been keeping promises to yourself, when you've been doing the work day after day, their words lose their grip. They can't reach you because you already know the truth. You've already proven it. You've already lived it. Now, proving yourself right doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you'll never fall short. But it does mean that when you fall, you get back up. It means you're consistent enough over time that the failures become lessons, not final verdicts. Each lesson strengthens your resolve, and each resolve strengthens your confidence. And little by little, you become unshakable, not because the world stopped criticizing, but because you stopped needing their approval. Let me put it another way. External validation is like building your house on sand. It looks fine until the storm comes. Internal validation, proving yourself right, is like building on rock. When the storm of criticism hits, your foundation doesn't move. The winds blow, the waves crash, but you stand because your confidence wasn't built on their voices. It was built on your own actions. That's why the most successful people often look calm in the face of criticism. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't waste time fighting rumors or shouting back. They've already done the work. They've already proven themselves right. And that proof gives them a confidence that silenced critics more effectively than any argument ever could. So here's the challenge. Stop worrying about what others say you can or cannot do. Start worrying about what you say you can or cannot do. Start keeping promises to yourself. Start building habits that reinforce your vision. Start proving yourself right, not once, but daily. Because each day you do, your confidence grows a little stronger. And when it's strong enough, the critics will still be there, but their words will feel like whispers in the wind. In the end, the critic's voice is temporary, but your self-belief can last a lifetime. Prove yourself right, and you'll carry a confidence that no one can take away. That's the kind of confidence that opens doors, creates opportunities, and builds a life worth living. So remember, critics will always talk, but your job is not to silence them. Your job is to build confidence by proving yourself right. Because once you do, their words lose power forever. Your daily disciplines speak louder than arguments. That's a truth that too many people overlook. When someone doubts you, the natural impulse is to defend yourself with words. You want to explain your plan, argue your point, and persuade them to believe in you. But here's the reality: arguments rarely change minds. Words fade, but results remain. And results are born out of one thing: discipline. Not once in a while, not when it's convenient, but daily. Discipline is the proof that you're serious. It's the visible evidence that you're not just talking about change, but actually creating it. Think about it. Anyone can argue. Anyone can talk big dreams. Anyone can announce their intentions. But only discipline can transform those intentions into reality. Every time you follow through, every time you keep the commitment you made to yourself, you're saying more than words ever could. Your actions become your testimony. Arguments rely on convincing others. Discipline relies on convincing yourself. That's the higher power. Because when you convince yourself, when you've built a record of daily habits that prove your consistency, you no longer need to fight with critics. You don't have to. Your life speaks for itself. Critics may still talk, but their voices don't matter because your results are too clear to deny. Discipline doesn't shout. It doesn't make a scene. But it speaks in a language that everyone understands. Achievement. You can't argue against results. You can dismiss someone's dream, but you can't dismiss their harvest once it shows up. That's why the wise don't waste time in long debates. They go back to their work. They trust the process. They let their daily disciplines become the answer to every doubt. The power of daily discipline is that it compounds. A single day may not look like much. Read one chapter of a book and it feels small. Do one workout and it seems insignificant. Save a little money, and it looks like nothing has changed. But do it daily, and something begins to happen. Over time, the small disciplines add up. They grow into visible results that no argument could have produced. That's why discipline is always louder in the long run. Critics often live in the short term. They want instant results, so they mock you in the beginning when they don't see evidence. They laugh at your small steps because they're looking for overnight success. But you're not building for the short term. You're building for the long term. And over time, the consistency of daily discipline builds a foundation that their laughter can't shake. Imagine a builder laying bricks one at a time. At first, it doesn't look like much. Someone passing by might mock, saying, "That will never be a house." But the builder keeps laying bricks, quietly, daily, steadily. And one day, the house stands tall. What happened? The bricks spoke louder than the arguments. The daily effort became undeniable. That's how life works. Your disciplines are the bricks. Each day you practice them, you're adding to something bigger. And one day, what you've built will stand tall enough that no critic can deny it. But here's the key: you must be consistent. Discipline doesn't work if it's occasional. The power is in the daily repetition, the steady commitment. Every time you show up, you're sending a message to yourself. I'm serious. I'm committed. I'm proving myself right. And over time, those messages create unshakable belief. So stop trying to win arguments with words. Don't waste energy convincing people who aren't invested in your future. Put that energy into your daily disciplines. Let them be your reply. Because in the end, your critics may forget your arguments, but they won't be able to ignore your results. And remember, these words may echo for a moment, but discipline leaves a legacy. What you do daily will outlive the noise of today. That's why your daily disciplines speak louder than arguments. Because arguments fade, but discipline endures, and the life you build with it will always tell the louder story. Don't aim for applause. Aim for authenticity. That's a principle that can change the entire direction of your life. Too many people are chasing applause. They want the recognition, the likes, the cheers, the approval of the crowd. They measure their worth by the noise others make about them. But applause is temporary. It comes and goes. It's loud one day and silent the next. If your life is built on applause, you'll live on an emotional roller coaster. Up when they cheer, down when they're silent, and broken when they criticize. Authenticity, however, is different. It doesn't rely on the crowd. It doesn't depend on applause. Authenticity is about being true to who you are, true to your values, true to your vision. It's about living in alignment with what matters most, regardless of who notices. And the reward of authenticity is far greater than applause. Applause can make you feel good for a moment, but authenticity builds confidence that lasts a lifetime. The danger of aiming for applause is that you'll begin to perform instead of live. You'll shape your actions not around what's right, but around what gets noticed. And when you live that way, you slowly lose yourself. You forget your real goals, your real dreams, your real standards. You become a reflection of what others want instead of the expression of who you truly are. That's why applause can be dangerous. It can distract you from the deeper work of building character, discipline, and substance. But when you aim for authenticity, something powerful happens. You stop chasing the crowd and start building yourself. You stop asking, will they approve? And start asking, is this true to me? Does this honor my values? Does this move me closer to who I want to become? That shift changes everything. It takes the pressure off your shoulders and gives you a new kind of freedom. Because once you stop living for applause, you stop being controlled by the fear of criticism. Now, authenticity doesn't mean stubbornness. It doesn't mean you never grow or change. It means that when you grow in the direction of your true values, not in the direction of someone else's expectations. It means that when you change because you've learned something real, not because the crowd pushed you. Authenticity is growth on your terms. The funny thing is, when you live authentically, the applause eventually comes anyway. People may not cheer in the beginning, but they can't ignore someone who consistently lives in alignment with truth. They may doubt you at first, but over time, authenticity earns respect. Not the loud, fleeting respect of applause, but the deep respect of character. That kind of respect is far more valuable, and it lasts much longer. Think of the difference between a performer and a craftsman. A performer seeks the audience's reaction. They adjust their act to keep the applause going. But a craftsman doesn't work for applause. They work to master their craft, to bring out the best in what they do. The applause may come or it may not, but the craftsman knows the value is in the work itself. And in the end, it's the craftsman's work that stands the test of time long after the applause for the performer has faded. So here's the challenge. Don't spend your life chasing the approval of others. Spend your life chasing the truth of yourself. Build something real. Live by principles that matter. Do the work that speaks to your soul. Be the kind of person who doesn't need applause to keep going because you already know who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. The crowd will always be unpredictable. One day they love you, the next day they forget you. But authenticity is steady. It doesn't rise and fall with the noise of the crowd. It stays true, it stays grounded, and it stays powerful. And in the end, that's what creates a life of real meaning. Remember, applause is nice, but authenticity is necessary. Applause fades, but authenticity endures. Don't aim for the noise of the crowd. Aim for the strength of being true to yourself. Because when the noise dies down, and it always does, it's authenticity that will keep you standing tall.